On the company you keep. This morning I watched two trees at the edge of a field, their branches so intertwined that I could not tell where one ended and the other began. They had grown together over many years, each shaping the other in ways neither could have planned. It struck me that we are not so different. The people you stand beside long enough will bend you, slowly and surely, toward their light or away from it. You become, whether you notice it or not, a blend of the company you keep. This is not a warning, it is an invitation. Because if the wrong companions can dull your spirit by slow degrees, then the right ones can sharpen it just as quietly. Think of the friend who, after an hour of conversation, leaves you feeling strangely braver, or the one whose laughter seems to rearrange the furniture inside your chest, making more room for something you had forgotten was there. These are not small gifts. These people are doing something for your soul that no discipline or private resolve can replicate. A single, honest friend is worth more to you than a library full of wisdom you never live out. What good is knowing the right thing if there is no one beside you to hold you to it, gently, on the days you would rather look away? And yet, how carelessly we often choose. We would never drink from a well we suspected was fouled, not even a sip. But we will sit for entire evenings with people who leave us feeling smaller, more anxious, more inclined toward gossip or complaint. We will return to conversations that circle endlessly and arrive nowhere, again and again, out of habit or obligation, or the simple fear of an empty chair. It is almost endearing, this strange loyalty we show to what diminishes us. Almost. You guard your meals with some discretion. You would not eat bread you knew was spoiled. Why then feed your hours to someone who sours them? Your time is not less precious than your food. I would argue it is infinitely more so, for you can always bake another loaf. You cannot bake another afternoon. I do not mean that you should surround yourself only with those who agree with you or flatter you. That is not companionship, that is decoration. The best company will sometimes trouble you. A true friend is one who can sit across from you and say, with great tenderness, that you are mistaken. Who can hold a mirror steady when you would rather look away. This requires love, real love, not the easy kind that simply smiles and nods. Anyone can tell you what you wish to hear. It takes someone who genuinely cares about your growth to tell you what you need to hear, and to say it in a way that makes you grateful rather than defensive. If you have even one such person in your life, you are wealthier than most people will ever understand. Guard that friendship fiercely. Water it. Show up for it on the days when showing up is inconvenient. Nothing of value grows without tending. But here is something I want you to consider carefully. The company you keep is not limited to the people in your rooms. You are also in the constant company of your own thoughts, your habits, your repeated inner conversations. These are companions too, and they deserve the same scrutiny you would give any guest at your table. The worry you entertain each night before sleep, is it good company? The resentment you carry from some old wound, does it make you kinder, sharper, more alive? You would not invite someone into your home who paced the halls muttering grievances and predicting catastrophe. And yet you host precisely such visitors in your own mind, without a second thought. You can ask them to leave. Not violently, not with self-reproach, but with the quiet firmness of someone who has decided what kind of household they intend to keep. What you read, what you practice, what you give your steady attention to, these also sit at your table. A good book is a companion who speaks only when you are ready to listen and never takes offense when you set it down. A craft pursued with care is a friend who teaches patience without ever uttering the word. Even a morning walk, taken faithfully along the same path, becomes a kind of relationship that asks nothing of you but your willingness to be present and gives back, without fail, the particular pleasure of watching light change across familiar ground. The frost on a gate in winter, the first unbearable green of spring. You are always in some kind of company. The question is simply whether you have chosen it with intention or merely stumbled into it by default. I want to recommend a certain gentleness here as well, because the truth is, we have all been poor company at times. We have all been the friend who talked too much about our own troubles, who failed to notice someone else's quiet sadness, who arrived distracted, selfish, or simply dull. This is not cause for shame. It is cause for compassion, both for others and for yourself. The person who sometimes bores you at gatherings may be carrying a weight you cannot see. The neighbor whose complaints exhaust you may not yet have discovered that there is another way to walk through the world. You do not owe your hours to everyone, but you can release those you step away from with kindness rather than contempt. Not every tree is meant to grow beside yours. That does not make it a lesser tree. And then there is this, the quiet miracle at the center of it all. When you do find the right company, when you are sitting with someone who sees you as you are and delights in what they find, there is almost nothing else required. You do not need to perform or impress. You do not need to be wittier or wiser or more accomplished than you truly are. You can simply sit and breathe and be yourself, and that is enough. I believe this is one of the great underestimated joys of being alive. A table with bread and wine, and someone whose laughter makes your ribs ache. A walk with a friend where neither of you speaks for long stretches and neither of you minds. A letter arriving on the precise day you most needed to hear from someone who remembered you. These moments do not announce themselves as holy, but they are. So look around you, my friend. Look at who sits beside you, who walks with you, who fills your thoughts in the early hours before the day begins its noise. Are these companions worthy of the brief and luminous time you have been given? And, just as importantly, are you offering to others the kind of presence you would be grateful to receive? This is the beautiful symmetry of it. To find good company, you must also become good company. You must be the one who listens without rushing to repair, the one who remembers what was said, the one who simply arrives, not perfectly, not impressively, but honestly. The day is not so long. The table has a finite number of chairs. Fill them well and with great care. And if there is an empty seat, do not fear it. Sometimes the finest company you will ever keep is the silence of your own steady heart, the sound of wind moving through leaves, and the deep, settling knowledge that you have chosen well, and that you are, even now, becoming someone worth sitting beside.